Hello everyone and welcome to a very special episode of the Royal Blue podcast as we welcome Everton legend Derek Mountfield ahead of the new Howard's Way film. Derek, you've told us you've not seen it yet, but what was your role actually in the film? What did you actually do apart from the archive footage?
Well, the archive football speaks for itself, doesn't it? It came about via contact with Rob Sloman doing this film. I'd heard about it months before, and then he rang me and I met him over at the Shankly Hotel. He says, yeah, we're trying to have everyone involved and trying to get this sorted, and we want to try and get all the players together, because believe it or not, since the 85 Cup final, we've not been in the same room together.
I've heard that, yeah,
absolutely. And that's what I'm looking forward to most about Monday. We haven't been together in this, so we've had one or two missing, so it's quite strange that for 30 odd years we've not been in the same room together. So I said, yeah, I'll help you out. He says, what have you got at home? I said, got a load of stuff in the loft, I don't know what's in there. So he literally came round and I opened the loft hatch and I climbed up, and he came up behind me and I said, I've got this box and I got that box and this box. He's going, put that to it, we'll use that, we'll use that, we'll use that, don't want that, we'll use that. And I just didn't know I had in my loft, and I think him coming round has helped me realise that I've actually got more. I used to call it crap, but it's probably not crap.
So what is it, like photographs, programs,
I didn't realise I've got signed programs. I've got all my shirts and all my medals, because I use them on school trips and school talks. So they've been handled by thousands.
You've showed me a couple of your medals, and it was an absolute thrill to hold down. Yeah.
But I found I had the cup final records. I've got the Radio City 85.
I've got that one. It's a cracker, isn't it?
I didn't realise I had what I had, and I've got papers going back to the mid-80s, and a lot of it was collected by my mum and handed down to when I lost my mum and dad. So a lot of it's come down. I'm thinking I didn't realise what I had, but Rob was, God, he said, this is a treasure chest. He said, it's brilliant. It looks great. So I put all that stuff away in the corner, and then when he came back, we modified the loft slightly, sat the cameraman in the bottom corner. Rob was tucked up like this, and I'm sitting on the edge of the loft hatch and the loft, opening stuff. And I've not seen it, but what he said it looks really good, but I didn't know. I think a lot of the lads are the same. We don't know what we've got.
Right.
We just open a box, shove it in there and do that. I'm actually trying to move house at the moment, and I'm finding even more that I didn't know I had, and that's the beauty of this sort of thing. It is. Yeah. It's part of the history of the club, not just me. It's part of, as I say about the medals, the medals aren't just mine, they're part of the club's history, so they're part of the fans as well, so it's good for them to see them.
It's funny, Chris in his introduction there described you as a Everton legend, Derek Mountfield.
There's no D in legend. There's a legend.
But no, I hate that phrase, because it's so hackneyed now, and so many undeserving recipients get called legends. I'm talking people that have spent 5 minutes at a football club, have won nothing. I'm not just blowing smoke up your backside because you're here, but you are a genuine 24-carat Everton legend, because you've won a league title, you've won an FA Cup, you've won a European Cup Winners' Cup, so you've won massive trophies, and you haven't just been a bit part in that. You're a man that was hugely influential in bringing those trophies back. I was sat down with Chris before you came in, and we're talking about some of the goals that you scored as a centre half.
We go.
I said, well, it's not just the quantity of goals you got in that title winning season. FA Cup semi-final winner, a goal that clinched, the opening goal in the game that clinched the title against QPR. And I said to him, and if VAR had been around then, you'd have had a goal in the opening European Cup Winners' Cup final.
Ruled out.
Scored, and it was ruled out incorrectly.
It wasn't my goal, though. Andy Gray put it away, but I headed it back across, and I got hammered by Howard at half-time. He ripped into me.
Really?
I went, but I was onside. I knew it was onside.
It was onside, yeah.
Because Sheeds was so good at delivery, I could make a late run and still get there. Yeah. And he actually said after the game, I apologise for I'm seeing it, you were miles onside, he said to me. So I actually got an apology off Howard after the game, but it's one of them.
Yeah.
We talked to Sheeds, he said, you were great, because I just put my hand on the ball, look, I could see him making a run.
Yeah.
And he was the reason I got the goals, him and Trevor Stephen. Yeah. With the quality delivery, I was going to score goals. I'm sure you could have probably scored 6 or 7 goals.
I don't know.
Because the quality was always there. And I went to Villa, I had Gordon Cowans doing the same.
Yeah.
The quality of the ball in those days was far superior than it is now.
Yeah.
If you've got a free kick, it's the one chance you've got to put the ball into the box unopposed.
Yeah.
And we can't beat the first man nowadays. Yeah. And that's not just Everton, that's epidemic in football. But Sheeds' delivery and Trevor's on this side was just superb.
Are you pleased that this football team is finally getting some of the recognition it deserves? Because to me, I've always felt that team is one of the great teams of English football history, not just over that one season, but over a period of 3 or 4 seasons, in consistency as well as quality of performance. And because of what else was going on in football at that time, I'm talking about the Bradford Fire disaster, obviously what happened to Heysel, it didn't get maybe the credit it deserved. Other factors were at play in overshadowing just how good that football team was. And finally, it's getting a bit of profile now.
You're probably right. It's a team that at one stage was struggling low down the table, Christmas '83. 5 months later, we're FA Cup winners. A year later, we're League champions, European Cup winners. And we could have gone and should have gone on to bigger and better things. Yeah, what happened around us is different. But that team, for that 18 months, 2 years, it was everything about it just ran so smoothly.
Yeah.
We had our ups and downs. But after that Christmas period, it just like someone had turned a button and gone, right, you're good players now.
Yeah.
You can play as a team.
Yeah.
And we just rolled and rolled and rolled, and a lot of it's got to go down to Howard, but I also put Colin Harvey McKeaton in that.
Yeah.
I don't think McKeaton's ever given the credit he deserves.
That's fair.
Colin was the coach, Howard was the tactician. He could organise a game. We were playing 4-5-1 today, boys, we're doing this. But Colin did the work on the train. And when we were down, and McKeaton picked us up, he was the jolly man. He was superb at making us laugh and joke.
Yeah.
But those three as a three were just brilliant together. They bounced off each other, but the team just gelled. And I've said this to other people, and I know Mark Higgins really well, and without Mark's injury, I might not be sitting here. It could be Mark and Kevin.
Right.
So Mark, unfortunately for Mark, he got injured and missed the glory days by weeks, really.
Yeah.
And I took his place. So for Mark's misfortune, I got my opportunity, and I wasn't giving that away. I'm a blue. I'm not going to say, "Oh, no, come Mark, come back. I'm having your place. Mate. It's mine now." So Mark's last 3 games were alongside me with Kevin Rackett at left back. So it could have been me and Mark and Kevin at left back, but unfortunately for Mark, he missed it. But that era was just a joy to be a part of.
Yeah.
And my friends who I used to stand with on the street end, I used to wave to them before the game because we had the same spot every single week, and I used to hear them shouting. I'm getting they're shouting my name now. Yeah. It's quite surreal. I was with my brother over the weekend, and my brother is younger than me, and one of my two brothers, and he moved into the Navy in 84-85 season, and he missed it all, and he said that I'm so proud of you, lad. I'm so proud of you, kid.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. You don't realise what you've done until a long time afterwards, when people start talking about me, or you're doing your job, and people say, "What? No, yeah, but I was doing my job." But you weren't. No, I was. It was my job at the time. You were paid to write for the papers. I was paid to play football, and that's the difference. We did our job to the best we could.
Yeah.
But those 3 years were just wonderfully around the football club.
Yeah, but by doing the job to the best of your ability, then you brought so much joy into people's lives. I mean, I was a fan then rather than a journalist. I just breaking into journalism. I left so many games that season just walking on air, just like what you see.
People say we had a good time, we enjoyed it, but we did as well.
Yeah.
And people don't realise, although we were doing our job, we were having a wonderful time at the same time. It wasn't a chore. I think sometimes nowadays you look at the way things happen in football, it's a chore, exactly, because you're not sure how the fans are going to react. You're not sure how you're going to play. You're not sure if you're in the team. I remember playing at Goodison Park over Christmas Day, getting cushions chucked at me, getting booed off the pitch. 5 months later, they're cheering my name. And that's how football, it's so fickle at times, football. It can change so much. But I look back to those days with immense pride. But I wish I was on the terraces because I wish I was there singing and shouting the names. But now people are talking about.
I wish I'd been out there playing.
That's what it is. I was part of the team, but I honestly wish I'd been on the terraces with my mates at Rotterdam and at Wembley, because I know how much fun we were having on the field and how much fun they were having dancing into Trafalgar Square fountains. Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, I mean, only 2 weekends ago when we played Burnley away, the same group of lads that we went to Wembley with, in that picture you talked about in the back of the Sherpa van, and he's 60 this weekend, Kev Dowd, or that weekend, Kev Dowd, and we all got together again, and we see each other every now and then, and just had, sort of catch-up reminiscences and that, and it's wonderful that, we're talking 30-odd years on, we're still talking about it, we're still, getting all misty-eyed looking back on it, and they were great times to be an Evertonian.
It's great for us lot, but let's have the younger fans having somewhere to look back in 30 years' time. At the moment, it's quite funny when the dads go, "Dad, say how are you, mate?" And the kids are going, "Who's that dad?" This big, and he's got to explain about who we are. But I just want the current crop of fans, the younger fans, to be able to have Everton go to a Wembley final, have Everton contest at least for a top 4 for Champions League, because we're so far behind at the moment. I just want us to be back up there, giving our fans the chance to say, "Whoa, we're back at Wembley again. It's great. And then I can go and get drunk and get the fountain myself, can't I?
Finally become a fan.
But you're quite modest there, Derek, when you said that anyone could have scored those goals. I mean, 14 goals in all comps that season. I mean, once you were off the mark early on in September, did it give you that momentum to think, I'm a threat here?
I was a centre forward till I was just short of my 14th birthday, so I had a bit of a goal scoring knack. But I got 14 goals and I was still 5th top goal scorer. I was 5th top goal scorer. Now the top scorer gets 12 sometimes, but I was 5th with 14, joint with, I think it was Adrian Heath, who'd been injured half the season. Because Sharpie, Andy, Trevor, Sheeds all scored goals, and we got goals from all over the park. Gary chipped in with a few. Kevin and Pat didn't get many between them. I've got a hand that's about all I can get on Kevin and Pat's fingers. But Gary could chip in, Trevor could chip in. And that's the beauty of it. We weren't relying on one person to score goals. Too many teams have one getting 30 goals or 20 and no one else. But we had people all over the park. But I said before, a lot of my goals were lucky. The one against QPR might have been down as an own goal by the keeper, but in those days there was no VAR. I got one again a couple of seasons later with my left hand, which would have been disallowed, but it's in the record books. You're not taking off me. But it's all those little incidents where we were one up against Ipswich in the cup quarter final with Sheeds' 2 free kicks. Then we're 2-1 down and we're looking desperate, but we kept pushing and pushing, and then we get a free kick at a corner, and I do what I do. I don't rush back because you win the ball back. Really gets it, flicks it to Pat Van den Hauwe, who's in the right half position, over his head, volleys it, and I score the equaliser. We're still in the cup, and that's what we had in those days. We had a massive belief that we were never ever beaten. If we went 1-0 down, we'd come back and get a 1-1 or go a 2-1. We believed we were not undefeatable, but we knew we could get back into any game we played, and we showed that on numerous occasions that we had that ability. And it's ability now, I think, that's going out of football. Because you go 1-0 down and the whole atmosphere in the ground changes. The fans start getting a bit negative, and you hear it coming off the terraces, and the players don't know how to lift themselves. We had Pete Reid going, "Come on, you," and we all, Sharpie going. We all got around. We all gave each other a cheer up.
A team full of leaders. Absolutely.
And that's where football's gone. You can't make a leader anymore. Leaders are natural. Reedy was a natural leader. Rats was a natural captain. Andy Gray was a leader. Neville was a leader. We haven't got any more. You can't make people into leaders, and it's a dying art. It's a dying art because you're not allowed to be aggressive at players anymore.
True.
You're not allowed to be aggressive and have a shout up because they go, but we had Hughes Lamp, we had bollockins. We ripped into each other at times to make sure we weren't slacking. You talk about that, sort of being undefeated mentality. I think Chelsea came to Goodison just before Christmas and, absolute humdinger of a game, 1-4-3. From that game, you didn't lose a match then until you'd won the league, got to the European Cup Winners' Cup final and got to the FA Cup final. It's like 4 months of just like undefeated football, and you're playing games every 3 days as well, so in all competitions. It was just a ridiculous it's one
run.
of them, but you get on a roll. You get into the flow, and you don't not want to play. So we wanted to play. If you look at ask the lads, how many times did we play 100% fit? Well, it wasn't many times. We had a little niggle here or twinge there, but we kept on going because we were part of the team. I knew that I came out, I might never get back in the side again. So we wanted to play each week, and I remember the Chelsea game. It was a 4-3 defeat at home, and then we go away on Boxing Day, win at Sunderland. Then we win again, and the momentum just flew. And it was just from there on. It was just
being modest again. He scored both goals at Sunderland.
I did get both goals. I remember them both. I've actually seen them a couple of times. A nice header from about 12 yards out, a little flick from a Sheeds free kick. Helped it back past the keeper. So, but I said it could have been Andy Gray getting those goals because we never made the same runs. If you watch the game, we never ever made the same runs. One would go near post, one go back, one go mid, and we keep chopping and changing all the time. We never made this. We're never in the same position for any 2 corners back to back. We'd always do something different.
Is there any particular one from that season that stands out amongst yours for a certain reason?
I always hark back to the Ipswich goal because people say everyone remembers the semi-final winner. But without the Ipswich goal, there's no semi-final. That kept us in the cup tie. That kept us in the competition. And that the semi-final goal wouldn't have been there if I hadn't got the equaliser against Ipswich. So I always look at that one. It was a scrappy goal, but it's a goal. But everyone talks about the semi-final winner, and I'm not allowed to forget it. And long may it continue, I'm not allowed to forget it, because it's nice to talk to fans, and they always say, "Oh, I was there." Do you know what? So was I. Where you lucky? I make a laugh at it, but again, it was we'd been away in Europe into Munich on the Wednesday. and we stayed overnight for the one and only time in our European trips.
Right.
So there was a few 2 beers drunk, I think, on the Wednesday night, which happened every week anyway. It wasn't that we didn't do it. And we got to Villa Park, and we were atrocious early on. We never got in the game. They came out and they fired.
And Luton were a decent side back then
Yeah,
as well.
they put pressure on us.
Yeah.
They scored a goal, never made a couple of good saves, and Howard half time, "We're better than this, boys. You're better than this. Come on,
Yeah.
come on." I always remember the Stoke game in '84 when he just opened the window.
Yeah.
8,000 fans just singing. He said, "Do it for them, boys,"
Yeah.
and we did. But getting back to that game, and as the game went on, we seemed to get in a bit of a foothold in the game, but we couldn't break them down. With about 10 minutes ago, I got the Howard nod. Up you go, son. I went up front. I think Rats launched it, or Neville. I won a free kick for the little touch off Mick Harford. And for the one and only time in Shrewsbury, he actually mishit the ball. I'm sure he did. He probably won't admit it, but I think he mishit it. And it bobbled and bobbled. Les Steele went down like the Tour de France into stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. And we're back in the game. And I just remember the two halves of the Holt end. One going, ugh, and one going, ugh. And then you look round, and it's not just Holt end, it's the Whitton Lane, it's the North Stand. It was just full of blue.
Yeah.
And I'd been battered and bruised. Mick Harford had battered me, but I was sore knee, broken nose, black eye, and
he was uncompromising. I think it's fair to say, isn't it?
We had a few battles, Mick and I. Maybe my Everton debut against Mick against Birmingham, and we continued our fights all the way through our career. And then half time of extra time, how you bet on these? You've got it. You've got the momentum now, boys. You're on top of them. And we struggled and struggled. And then at half time of extra time, they took Mick Harford off. And I went, "Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much," because I was all over the place face-wise. And then we get
you had
the free...
black eye, didn't you?
Black eye, busted nose.
Yeah.
And then we get the free kick, and up I go again. Gary's, "Go on, son. Get us one of your goals," Gary Stevens says. So I trot up like I always did. And then again, quality ball, little nudge on Ricky Hill, back of the net, and again it was carnage. It was just, if Andy Gray hadn't caught me, I'd probably still be running now, because it's not every time, every week you can get a chance to put your team at Wembley. And I just kept running. Andy Gray grabbed me, and then the rest is history. It was just absolute carnage after that night, and there was then the belief in the fans that we're going to do the treble. Unfortunately, it was one game too many for at the end of the season, but I look back with a remarkable gratitude, but also astonishment that we actually did what we did, and we didn't set out to do it. It just became the norm. And when it's the norm, it's so easy to do it. And that's how it was. It was still a wonderful time around Everton Football Club, and as you said before, I'm pleased now that somebody's put something together to give us a little bit of credit.
Absolutely.
But once I will say, I was in Dubai about 4 years ago over Christmas, and I'd been to watch at the end of the live game, which happened with Liverpool, and a stay for the Everton away at Newcastle game. And I'm there with one rather drunk Evertonian fan and me and my wife, and these two Geordies walk in. And I'm sitting there, quiet pint. "Hey boys, here for the game." "Why, aye man," they said. He said, "You know who this is, don't you?" And I'm going, "Oh no, please." And he said, and this Geordie goes, "I can name you that team." I went, "So you can't." And he went, duh, 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 and he named the 11.
Really?
I said, "How can you do that?" I couldn't tell who I played against you. He said, "Best team I've ever seen." He said, "For 2 years, you were the best team I've ever seen." And he rattled off our team 1 to 11 without hesitation. I couldn't tell you who I played against at Newcastle at the time. But he said, "You were the best I'd seen."
Well, and
that's the sort of thing that I go, wow, other people do remember us.
Well, yeah, because I always throw that anecdote in that Jackie Charlton was a Newcastle manager that season, and one of my favourite games that season, a bit of an odd one, was when you battered them 4-0 at Goodison, because you just played so well that day.
I was scored 10 as well.
But after the game, Jackie Charlton was asked, so I think the press was trying to soften him up a little bit, knowing what he could be like, saying, "Well, Jackie, you must be disappointed with that." "No, lad, I'm delighted." And they thought he was taking the mickey. He said, "What do you mean he's delighted? You've just been beaten 4-0. "No, genuinely, I'm delighted. That could have been 8 or 9. That is the best balanced team I've seen for years." And he was genuinely meant to. So it was also, as an Evertonian, hearing stuff like that just made you feel that bit taller.
I didn't watch the European Cup final till about 20 years later. And you listen to Brian Clough. And he's pretty much the same. He's saying, this team's got to dominate Europe for years to come. He was very complimentary to us, but we just had, I said, we were balanced, we had a blend. We had a nice right and left foot centre half, an athletic right back, right footed, a left footed left back, a left footed winger, right. Trevor, who was gifted, 2 crafty midfield players who worked the cotton socks off, and 2 of the best goal scorers around. If you don't put goal scorers in a team, you're not going to score goals.
And if ever anything went wrong with any of those players, you had great backup in like Kevin Richardson, Alan Harper.
They're the two that I always make sure I mention, because those two were brilliant. Harper would come and play left back or right back, midfield. Richard was the same. in for 2 games, back on the bench.
Yeah.
They were absolutely magnificent. And I believe they're both going to be there next week, which is great for me because 2 good lads, but don't really get the correct recognition they deserve. But without them 2, it might not have been as easy as it was because they could multitask as you could.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you mentioned obviously a terrific era for the club, but there's one element of your career from back then that hasn't been discussed much, and you mentioned it before we went on air about Simon Hart's book. Your epilepsy and an epileptic episode that you'd had, and it's not that you suffered greatly for it, but I mean, it's something that hasn't been mentioned much.
Yeah, I've had 2 what they call grand mal fits in my life. One in '74 as a child of 12, and then one in '86, about 4 weeks after the cup final in '86. At the time, I wasn't on medication. I didn't take any. It happened. I lost 2 hours of my life. Woke up in hospital. Told the medical staff. Told Howard, and they said we'll keep it quiet. Yeah. I lost my license for 2 years. So I wasn't driving for 2 years. Right. So how I got away with it, I don't know. But whether that was a catalyst in my doubt or my career coming down to Everton, I don't know. I played from '86 to just short of 2000, so I didn't do too bad. But it's one of those things. I kept it personal because I know what I needed to do to manage my epilepsy, which I managed pretty well. I still manage now, but maybe if I'd been a bit more open, it might have been a bit easier for people to understand maybe why I left Everton or how Dave Watson was signed by Howard. I don't know whether that had anything to do with it. I'll never know.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know really what to say. It's one of the things that I didn't want to put in the book. No. I discussed it with Simon, and he wrote an article, and he wrote part of it, and he sent me it. And I went, I'm not sure. I'm a bit. Maybe I should have been more open about it. Yeah. But we had to go and put it in, and I've not had that much feedback from it. I thought I would have done.
Which is good. I think it's brave of you to do that.
Rob Sloman, who's done the film, rang me, and his son actually has epilepsy as well. So I spent half an hour on the phone with him and his wife and his son. Explained, don't be afraid, it's fine, you'll manage it. And he was made up. His wife couldn't thank me enough when I spoke to her, but maybe I should have been a bit more open at the time. I don't know, but maybe I was just protecting myself. But I've had nothing since. Nothing to know of anyway.
Sure.
I still manage myself pretty well, so I don't go silly and do daft things with beer and sleep-wise. You just got to manage it, and any illness shouldn't stop anyone becoming or doing the best they can.
Sure.
I do a lot of work with Special Olympics people, with learning difficulties. I work in a special needs school with autism and Down syndrome, and they can do things. Yeah. But we shouldn't put barriers up to stop them. We should be encouraging them, which is what I try and do with the Special Olympics and the job I do. I try and encourage people to keep doing. So I've got some good little footballers, got some good little golfers, some great swimmers, tennis players, cyclists. Yeah. No illness should stop you trying to achieve the best you possibly can. And if me coming out and saying I have this and I get a bit more in the near future, so be it. I'll be there helping people because, I still think it might have hindered me at Everton. Right. For the final couple of years of my career at Everton, but I'll never know. I was still fully fit when Dave was around. I've had nothing since. I still did my best and I got in the team. I wasn't going to let anyone try and tell me you're not good enough. I kept going and I kept working. And I spent another 13, 14 years in the game, so it didn't stop me being a footballer.
By speaking about it, you will, so reassure other people out there and maybe inspire other people as well that, who have the same illness.
Yeah, it's not just epilepsy. There's other things out there that people have that they say I can't do. Show me the word can't in a dictionary. Yeah. You can do it. You might not know how to do it. Sure. And when I work in schools, I try and say, there's no can't, you can, and let's show you how you can do it. Yeah. And build up in steps and stages. But if I help people by coming out and saying I'm epileptic and it hasn't stopped me, if it encourages other people, I'll gladly take that and I'll work with anybody on that school. So
did Howard have a conversation with you about it, or was it just...
Well, we sat with the doctor and we agreed that wouldn't tell anybody. I don't know who Howard told. They said that I'd lost my licence through what we said now, but I couldn't drive for 2 years. So Gary Stevens became my chauffeur, John became my chauffeur, the wife at the time became my chauffeur. So, but I got my licence the week before I went to Villa. So I had to drive to Villa. So luckily for me, I was able to do that. But, we had a discussion and Howard didn't say, I know at the time I think Gary was injured, I think Pat was injured. Yeah. And then he said, I've got to sign a defender. Right. Could have signed a right, but he had to sign a centre half. I've got nothing against Waggy at all. Fantastic player, fantastic servant. Yeah. But I just think maybe the back of my mind that episode in June 86 probably did affect my Everton career. Right. But I loved it. I had 6 years at the club. I went from the terrace to the pitch. I'm not going to.
Only 6 years? I thought you were there longer than that.
No,
it was
virtually
82 to 88. Yeah,
virtually blob on 6 years, date to date. Yeah.
Because I remember coming back from Villa Park with you. Oh God, you might not remember this, but Rick George was, sort of pal of yours back in the day, and oh God. I don't know if it was a Villa Everton game or not, but I was down there, and Rick had said, "Oh, we need to get the train down." And I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, we're coming back with Derek." And I was like, "Right, okay." And we did. You were driving then because your drove us back up the M6, and it just seemed strange seeing you in claret and blue. It didn't quite feel right. It was weird.
It's one of them. I say to everybody, I go to Villa regularly. I go to Wolves. I always say I'm an Everton fan.
Yeah.
I'm not. Villa has a part in my heart. So does Wolves. So does Wolves. But I'm an Everton fan.
Yeah.
You can't become a fan of a club you go and play for. Yeah. You've still got your allegiance from childhood. Yeah. And too many people now become fans of clubs they join, and I don't see that for me.
Yeah.
I'm an Everton fan through and through. Villa's got a hard part. I mean, every other club has, but he went down this season. I've only been to one live game this year. That was the Villa Everton game. And came back from Spain. And I'm doing the lounger with Tony Morley. What's the score today? To be honest, I think Everton have too much for you. You're going to lose. Ooh! All the Villa fans at Villa Park. You can't. Well, I've just said it.
Yeah.
I just thought the time we'd be too strong for them.
Yeah.
I proved me wrong because the crowd got Villa up. Villa dominated and battered us.
Yeah.
And we've got to get that mentality. We've got to let the crowd lift us.
Yeah.
And the team at the moment just doesn't seem to know what it's doing.
No,
and that's the frustration of me. It doesn't seem to know what it's doing. Howard would have sorted this. Colin would have been into players working on it.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what happens. I say that, but not just Everton. Every club, you work from Monday to Friday. They don't play many midweek games now.
Yeah.
What you doing Monday to Friday, get me for Saturday? What you doing? Are you playing keep ball? Well, keep ball gets you no goals because you're not passing, not shooting. So maybe this philosophy, we've got to keep the ball.
Yeah.
Should be a bit more direct. That's how. But there we go.
I was just wondering about that because you mentioned, Derek, how you had that never say die and you always thought you could come back in the game. That's one of the things with the current Everton team. They've never come from behind to win a Premier League game under Marco Silva. So do you think, given that they are a talented bunch of players, is that a mental deficiency? Is it tactics? What do you think that might be down to?
It's hard to say. If I had the magic touch that turned Everton round, I'd sell it for millions every week. I'll bottle it and sell it. But I don't know. I just wonder now, as a generation of footballers, do they have the desire to win a trophy? Do they have the desire to be the best they possibly can by getting their team up there? I think, unfortunately, players are directed too much by finance. I think the motivation to be the best they can and to win a trophy is dying out the game. The hardest one to win is your first one, as we proved.
Sure.
We got to the Milk Cup final, lost it. 2 months later, won the FA Cup, and then we went on. Your first one's that's why Tottenham haven't done it. Tottenham won their first one, yeah. Liverpool won their first last season. They could kick on again, as you've seen this season.
Yeah.
City won the first on Guardiola. They've kicked on. United won at Ferguson. They've not really won since.
It's like it removes a mental block, doesn't it?
It does. Your first one's a hard one to win. I just wonder whether the players now really want to become known as winners. I said before, my medals are part of the club, so they're part of the fans. That's why I don't mind the fans holding them and seeing them. But are the players really? Did they really want to win a medal? Did they really want to get to a cup final? I just don't think it's there anymore. It's not just Everton. This is without a lot of clubs in the Premier League. I don't think the desire to be successful and win and major honour is in them. And I think it also doesn't help when the manager feels a weakened team in the Carabao Cups. Yeah. It sets the tone that we're not bothered now.
It does suggest it's not quite as significant as it should be.
It's a trophy.
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
trophy you can go and win that gets you guaranteed European spot, but also gets a chance for fans to celebrate and sing along with you. I just think it's the art of winning trophies has been dominated now by 4 clubs. And we're down there really compared. And I just think if the players said, "Come on, have a good hard talk, get Neville Southall, get Rats in, get me in, come on, what do you want to do? Do you want to be known as winners, or do you want to retire with £1 million house and 200 Bentleys in your drive, or do you want to have a medal to say?" I won that with Everton.
The answer you get might disappoint you actually, because you probably would be just quite happy with sort of picking up the riches. And
maybe I'm being a bit cynical there, but I look at the finance now and I just don't see the desire.
It does take away hunger, I think.
I don't see the desire to be successful anymore. I really don't see the desire. You can't fault the way they try at times, but have they really got? Do they really want to be known as a? I've won this with Everton, I've won that with whatever. It's all over the country for me at the moment. And if you look at the teams that win all the trophies, it's the same 4 every year. It's getting a bit monotonous now. Leicester did it 4 years ago, and they proved that with a good team spirit and hard work and a good ethic,
Yeah.
you can do something. And they proved it. They smashed that wide open by winning the league by 10 points.
Yeah, totally.
They smashed that myth that you can't break into the top four. Yeah. And look at, they're doing it again now. They're doing it again now. So why isn't it Everton? Why aren't we saying let's knock it, let's smash it down, let's get there? It's possible.
Yeah.
We've got some very talented players, you said before, but the best players don't make the best team. He might have to be ruthless and change his formation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And change his personnel and say, right, we're going to do it now.
Well, we finally got 4-3-3 on Sunday, didn't we? So for the first time in God knows how long, and it did, sort of look a little bit better as a result of it. But it was only in patches.
But you're not going to score goals if you have one strike up front.
Yeah.
He's winning the ball and chasing, trying to pick the loose balls up, and no one's in. Play 2 up front or play 3 up front. The best 2 teams in the league are City and United and Liverpool. They play 3 up front.
Yeah.
We talk about how good they are defending. Liverpool's better defenders are the front 3.
Yeah.
They start pressing high up the field, so the back 4's comfortable because they're working hard to get the ball away from them. So if we start working a bit harder, maybe go to 4 and work at 4-3-3, we might just turn the corner. I hope we'll anyway.
Yeah. And finally, obviously, St George's Hall next week. I mean, you mentioned that you've not all been together in the same room for probably 3 decades now. Just how big a thing do you think that's going to be? The atmosphere in there of all those Evertonians, you're a Blue, as we've discussed yourself, and all the squad together again.
I think it's going to be brilliant. I really can't. For me, the film is secondary to being together with the boys again. Yeah. I was in a lounge. So a boardroom lunch with the Former Players Foundation 6 months ago. A friend was 60, so I'll get him a retro shirt, I'll get it signed. So I go to the shop and there's Sheed, so Sheed signs it. I go back, so I put a signature on it, and I'm in the women's row, and then Andy Gray, Pretty Green, Graham Short walk in, they sign them, and then I would go and meet Pat Mandanao. So in the course of an afternoon, I met 5 of my former colleagues. Yeah. Sometimes I don't see them from season to season.
Yeah.
To put everyone together. I've not seen Bracewell in years. I've not seen Richo in years. Had a few meetings with Alan Harper, but I know Gary Stevens is coming over.
Isn't she coming over from the States?
I believe he's hoping to get over here. Andy's over. Trevor's up from Dubai. I think it's going to be brilliant. I really can't wait. We're all staying in the same hotel. We're all staying together. We'll be doing bits and pieces over the city on the day. But I think it's going to be a fantastic evening. I really can't wait for it. The film, I believe, is excellent. Yeah. But I just think to be together again, and I know for a fact it'll end up in probably a drunken evening.
Oh yeah, well, as well as being legendary footballers, they were legendary party animals as well. They knew how to party.
We had some good party animals, and I can party a bit more now because I don't have to look after my career, do I? Just my life in general now. But no, I think that's the beauty of it, to have all 11 back in the same room. Yeah. For the first time in 34 years, it's going
to be some picture opportunity.
We've had done where Andy Gray hasn't been, and Rats hasn't been, and Richard hasn't been, and really hasn't been, but hopefully to get all 11. I'm pleased that Richo and Alan Harper are going to be there because they were vital to that team. They really were, and I think it's going to be a tremendous evening. I know the fans are looking forward to it. I know I've got people asking me for tickets. I said, nothing to do with me. I can't get your tickets. I need to. I can't get any. Nothing to do with me. I'm only getting one myself for me and one for a friend, fortunately. But I just think it's going to be superb. I hope that the feedback we get from the film, makes people realise how good that team was. And I hope it's not just Evertonians that enjoy it. I hope that other clubs can watch it. Because I've watched a couple of documentaries in and out on Flames, like Liverpool, and Lee Dixon's done one, and there's one about the Clough team, and they're brilliant because it brings so many memories back to me as well, because I know I played against some of those teams, and I think it's great that this has come out now, and I just hope, I know the lads have enjoyed doing it, we've had some good laughs doing it, talking about it, and I just hope now that the response is as good as the film allegedly is, and that we keep harping back to this film in 2 years' time, because we've proved that we can win things again. So we're becoming. It's great being the best, known as the best ever Everton team. Yeah, let's be the second best or the third best. That means we've gone on to better things. We're winning. True. And that's my take. I don't want to be known as part of the best ever Everton team. What about the second or the third? Because we've gone and won again. That's what I want.
Or have a debate which is the best. That'd be great.
Well, that's the beauty of it. People talk about 69-70 team. And the 84-85 and who'd be in the best team together. They were two great teams. Yeah. I saw the end of that team as a youngster. I got to know an awful lot of the players. Yeah. And we have some great talk. I used to have great laughs with Westy and LeBone and them and Bawley. But bit by bit, it's 34 years since we won it. It's 50 years since they won it. 60 years, whatever it is now. Yeah. Time goes on. Yeah. Before too long, we won't be around. We'll just be You know,
Memories.
remember those people? Yeah, remember him. Like I look at all the people I got to know through the foundation, the older generation, the Labbies, the Westies, the Hicksons. They were fantastic to be around. The stories were wonderful. We'll be the same in 10 years' time with our little walking sticks and our little goatee beards, talking about the times in the 80s. And let's just hope that in the years to come, we are known as the second best, because we have gone and won, whether it's a league or a cup or 2 cups or whatever. That's what I want. I don't want to be known as the best for like forever and ever. Let's be the second best.
Yeah, sentiment I'm sure everyone would echo. So certainly whetted our appetite for it. So thank you very much for coming in, Derek. Some terrific stories, and thank you too, Dave. So we'll be with you soon for the next Royal Blue podcast.
You've been listening to the Royal Blue podcast from the Liverpool Echo.